Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So today I got a fun and exciting video for you guys today because I am taking a look at the recently released and updated port of Super Mario 64 to the PlayStation Vita. That is because you guys have all been talking about in the comments the number one platform you want to see these ports go to is the Vita, and I totally understand, especially if you have the original model with an OLED screen. Absolutely the best piece of hardware PlayStation's ever made in my opinion. And just so you know, this is a port of Ghostship, the most recent release made by Harbour Masters. If that name sounds familiar, they are the same team that ported over both Ocarina of Time as well as Majora's Mask to PC. And honestly, when Ghostship came out, I did a video, everyone was in love with it, and when I asked people what other platforms they wanted to see it on, the PlayStation Vita was number one leading the comment charge. And that's happened today, so we're going to take a look at the port as well as the update and tell you how Super Mario 64 is doing on the Vita. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. And obviously before someone leaves the comment, no, we didn't need another port of Super Mario 64 to another platform. You can play this game on basically everything, but honestly, as I always like to say, more options are always better. And honestly, the Vita being such a good handheld and such a great piece of hardware, having a new port available is just a number one thing that I would want out of the Vita. Because if we're being entirely honest, it's not like the Vita has much life left in it as a retail platform, because it's one of those things. Sony seems to make some of the best hardware, PlayStation Vita or PSVR 2, and then absolutely pretend it doesn't exist after launch. Because Vita had a ton of promise, but after a few years, it's like Sony themselves just pretended that it wasn't a platform and never really made a ton of games for it. And don't get me wrong, I love the Vita and I have a massive library, but honestly I think the PlayStation just absolutely squandered the overall Vita and what it could do in the marketplace. And maybe one day we'll get another PlayStation handheld, and hopefully then Sony doesn't pretend that they didn't actually make the thing in the first place. But in the meantime, we get stuff like Super Mario 64 Ghostship over on the Vita, and in my time playing around with it, it's been absolutely flawless. And big thanks to Anime Phoenix for helping me with the captures as well. He has his setup to actually capture. I did actually modify my Vita to be able to get some of the gameplay on here, but I really haven't got my capture process down 100%. But honestly, the Vita is just such a fun platform, and right now all of these N64 decomps, recomps, PC ports, and now Vita ports are blowing up. And I love to say in videos, this is why retro gaming is making a comeback, and it truly is. Some of the best games of all time, playable on pretty much every platform out there, at your fingertips whenever you want to play them. And again, if you don't own a Vita, I can't recommend enough. It is absolutely an incredible piece of hardware to pick up, and honestly I feel like it's going to be getting more expensive as time goes on. So if you've been thinking about it, if you've been on the fence, go onto eBay, go onto some forums, and maybe pick one up for yourself. Because the library is straight up amazing, the hardware is infinitely moddable, and there's so many new and fun experiences to play around with, you really can't lose. This is the type of stuff I want to see a lot more of as these decomps, recomps, and PC ports keep picking up steam. Sure, we all have a Windows PC, or at least most of us do. I know some of you are only Linux users, but for the most part, those ports will actually work as well. While we do have handheld Linux machines in the Steam Deck and a bunch of handheld Windows machines, seeing stuff like Super Mario 64 come over to the Vita, an excellent platform for it, that is absolutely a 10 out of 10, because think of it this way. Basically, every single N64 recomp or PC port could be ported over to Vita. Now, obviously on the recomp side of things, it is a more difficult task because it isn't like an x86 processor inside of the Vita, but as far as the PC ports are concerned, you can then code port them over to the architecture that the Vita would use, and that definitely is fun. And again, I just love the Vita as a handheld form factor. The screen size, the overall comfortability in the hand, it really is, in my opinion, the perfect type of handheld. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love my Steam Deck, but sometimes you just want something that isn't too massive to pop into your bag when you're commuting, taking a flight, or otherwise. And in playing this, every single time I play a new port of Super Mario 64, I am still reminded that it is one of the best games of all time, and it doesn't really matter how you play it or where you play it, you're gonna have fun. Although Anime Phoenix, they're absolutely deaf that jump. I am judging you. Maybe I'll kick you out of my Discord for missing that one. All jokes aside, he is a great person. I appreciate his help on this one. Let's go into the first of two soundtrack samples. Do be aware that capturing Vita can be a little tricky, so if you hear any weirdness in the audio, that is the capture, not the actual game, because this thing sounds absolutely perfect. So go ahead and listen. I'll be right back with a lot more Vita fun for everyone. It's just absolutely an iconic soundtrack, and it sounds great coming out of the Vita port. And honestly, I've been thinking for a long time now of doing a series on some of my favorite Vita games, but unfortunately the overall series videos that I was doing weren't really working out on the channel, as I kind of pivoted over to a lot of the FPGA and the otherwise decomp, recomp, and PC port scene, and all the emulation updates. So leave me a comment down below. Would you watch a bonus video every once in a while on weekdays at 8 p.m. if I wanted to talk about more subjects? Because honestly, it's something I kind of want to get back to, but it really is hard to try to make things work when they're just not working the same way that other stuff is, because I enjoy everything I make here, but it's one of those things. I've always wanted to talk about the Vita, but unless it's making news in emulation or in ports like Super Mario 64 coming to Vita, they just don't really get the same push as far as impressions are concerned. And I totally get it, views aren't everything in the world, but I gotta keep them up because that's how the channel gets bigger and I'm able to do more stuff. Now, as we jump into Jolly Roger Bay here, again, you can see all of the graphics look exactly, in my opinion, like they should on N64 hardware. That isn't just a testament to Harbour Masters' port, Ghostship, but it's also a testament to the team that ported that over to the Vita. Because again, you have completely different type of hardware on the GPU side of things in a Vita than you do on any sort of modern PC, whether you're using an AMD or an NVIDIA graphics card. And that is not easy in any way, shape, or form, because everyone knows what Super Mario 64 looks like, and if there were any bugs or any visual glitches in the overall presentation, they would be immediately noticeable and people would point them out. Now, I'm sure as I say that, there's probably been at least one visual glitch in here I missed, so if you have seen it, leave me a time code down below, because it's one of those things I always love to say. I only have the one set of eyes, and depending on how many people watch this, we have tens of thousands of eyes looking at it. So it's basically just a game of numbers. You notice stuff I don't, especially when you're editing. You can kind of go blind to what's in front of you. And the best part is there really isn't any latency or lag in the controls here. Mario controls exactly like you would expect him to, all that fluidity in the analog. And I will say, even though the Vita's analog stick isn't the biggest thing in the world, the overall throw and how it's calibrated just seems to do exactly what I need to do when it comes to controlling Mario. Because it is one of those things, if Mario was not controlling the way you remember him, it wouldn't be a fun port, because the overall feel of the game would be off. And even if the camera, obviously, back in the N64 days definitely fought you, the one thing you can say about Super Mario 64 is Nintendo 100% nailed the brief on what it felt like to control a character in 3D and have that character be responsive, fluid, and have a really fun moveset all at the same time. I have checked with a few other people that have played this, and they have already 120 starred it, so just like Ghostship, you're going to have no issues with this game. It's not going to freeze, it's not going to crash, it's not going to have any game-breaking bugs. It's just going to feel like Nintendo decided to release a copy of Super Mario 64 on the PlayStation Vita back when the Vita was on store shelves. We know that's definitely not the case, but anytime I can say something feels like a full retail product just happened to be made by fans, that is absolutely a testament to how good the thing truly is. And again, we're living in a new golden era of not just N64 developments, but retro gaming developments in general, because I feel like we're going to have a lot more of these things in the future. Let's do the second or two soundtrack samples, because again, the music quality is amazing, and I'll be right back. And that sounds exactly like Super Mario 64 should. So as far as the port of Ghostship over to the PlayStation Vita, it's straight 10 out of 10s all across the board. I could not find anything in my time playing this or going through the captures that Anime Phoenix sent over that I could point to and say it's not doing exactly what it should. And honestly, I want more stuff like this on Vita, because I just want more excuses to take my PlayStation Vita back out of my desk and play it some more, because it is still, in my opinion, one of the best handhelds ever made, and definitely the most impressive and unique piece of hardware Sony ever made as far as the PlayStation brand is concerned. But if you get into some of their Walkmans and record players from back in the day, Sony made some incredibly weird and fun things, the Vita not even kind of scratching the surface of how weird Sony can be in their designs. But definitely give this one a spin. Even if you play Ghostship on PC, like, you really need an excuse to play Super Mario 64 one more time. It is one of the best games ever made as far as Nintendo is concerned, and it's absolutely incredible here as a port to PlayStation Vita. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, but I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.